Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today's video we are talking about the brand new Russian light tank, the T-100 LT. Now this tank is absolutely fantastic. Now this tank is just amazing. Before we get into any gameplay of the tank though, I want to just quickly skim over the statistics of the tank real quick and then we'll get into the gameplay. So the tank sits at about 1700 HP normally, but I have equipment bringing it up to 1855. Now the armor profile of this tank, you can tell the whole sides, rear, that's all pretty bad, but the turret front armor is actually 210 millimeters. So yeah, it has some pretty decent turret armor on this tank, and it is troll enough on the sides and on the whole of the tank that you can actually get some bounces on this tank. Not quite as reliable as the tier 9, I would say, but it still can get those troll bounces. Now, of course, this tank as well has that view or that spotting mechanism where it keeps the enemy spotted for 20 seconds after you shoot them. And as well here, let's look at the gun real quick. 3200 DPM, quite good. 5.7 second reload time for a 310 alpha gun. The penetration is 240 millimeters on the AP, 290 on the APCR. The accuracy of the tank is a 3.3 second aim time and a dispersion of 0.348. There's only 5 degrees of gun depression on the tank, unfortunately, but it does have a 68 km/h forward speed. So let's get into some gameplay of the tank. Let's get into the fun stuff here. I'm going to be having 2 games of the T-100 LT, and I think they showcase just how stupid this tank is. Now, so, you know, I had not heard from really many people that this tank was absolutely stupidly broken or anything. Now, this tank, in my opinion, is, because this tank is so small, it's so fast, the gun is so good on this tank, it just is the perfect light tank. It feels so good to drive, and it's just a lot of fun to play. Now, obviously, your main role in this tank is to be a spotting tank, so you want to try to spot those heavy tanks, spot those TDs early, and if you light them up, you can basically perma-spot them, and sometimes you can just absolutely delete them off the start, and it just insta-wins you the game, basically. I've had that happen before, because you just light these guys up, and your team just destroys them. So that's something that this tank can do really well. And then as well, this tank is super quick. Like I said, it can really zip around the battlefield. Great gun on it as well. Quick reload, decent pin, great accuracy on the gun. It feels kind of like a T-62A's gun, which, you know, guys, is one of the best guns in the game. You can see right here already, I just destroyed these guys instantly. I mean, we absolutely slaughtered this team. Right from the get-go, pretty much, here on the hill. They had, you know, not much presence on it at all. Don't know why they had a chieftain camping back there and stuff, you know, but GG, bro. So we're going to get on the hill quite easily, obviously, and now we have this low HP T-100 LT that we're going to want to take out. And now I don't do anything too crazy at the beginning of this game, but you'll see later in the game where things get really crazy. So I'm sure you can tell already, this tank has much better gun handling than the tier 9, which I think is obviously the main thing that held that tank being back from broken. And when this tank, like I said, good gun handling, that should immediately tell you this tank is kind of broken already. I mean, the gun on it is fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with the gun. Only downside to the gun is that gun depression, as you can see right there. That's it. Pretty much everything else on the tank is fantastic and really has no issues. And here comes the funny part. So there's a full HP Chieftain Mark 6 up here. A great tier 10 heavy tank, one of the best in the game, and we are going to just absolutely donkey on this guy. He is just going to get destroyed by us. So obviously you could see how small this thing is in comparison and how short it is. With how quick this thing is, I do this almost every game, and it just gives me a free like 2k damage. You just go up to a heavy tank or another medium tank, any tank really, it's pretty easy, or it's usually the best with TDs, and you just zip around them, and they can't do anything to you. They just can't do a thing. You just zip around these guys, and you see here, I basically lost no HP to this guy. I mean, I did have a little help from the team, but it really didn't matter. We bounced 1200 damage right there, and he missed us a couple times. It really is just hilarious when you do these to these tanks, because they can't do anything about it. You're just so small and, you know, so low to the ground that half the tanks can't even shoot you. Like, the E-100 can't even shoot you. Like, it's actually ridiculous. And yeah, it is pretty nice because you can just pull up these guys and basically just get a free 2k damage and a kill. So that game right there you saw was super quick and easy. a quick, fabulous 4.1k damage that game as well, 1 kill. And I'm getting a lot of games that are well into the 3000s or into the 4000s with damage. Like, it is very easy to get. I've been having a lot of fun in this tank. So here's going to be another battle in the T-100 LT, of course. And you're going to see this battle, I think, displays the mobility and the spotting mechanism, excuse me, of this tank a little better. And as well is another game that's just kind of ridiculous. And I think these showcase the, strong points of the tank. How small it is, I think, is a huge factor that makes this tank OP. Because, of course, you saw what I did to Chieftain Mark 6. That wasn't like a rare thing. It's really, really easy to do. You couldn't just bamboozle these heavy tanks, and, it's almost impossible for them to kill you. And it's quite hilarious because it's just absolutely broken. And when you combine that with basically the best spotter tank in the game, as well with a really good gun and troll armor, I mean, you can just tell this tank is OP. So we do spot up basically the whole team over here, and I'm like, yeah, it's just us meds over here. Boys, run. We're not going to be doing a good over here. We need to get out of here. So I tell them to run, and thankfully these guys actually listen, and they do run, and they do fine. Half of the time their team doesn't listen, and then the guy stays behind, dies, and is like, oh, why'd you left me? So I'm glad they didn't do that. But so I'm going to get to this TD position and kind of camp over here. So I'm going to get a shot into that T-54 right there, you can see. And these guys obviously are just going to get kept spot up by me. I mean, I have like the best spotting. I'm like the best spotter tank in the game, basically. And so all of these guys are just going to be spot and be able to get farm. So we're going to go for a shot there on that 30B, and you can see the tank is pretty accurate right here. I mean, we're hitting a lot of these shots. We're basically hitting some pretty good shots like that one on the 60 TP right there, and it's allowing us to farm up some decent damage. We're going to go for one more shot. That one does unfortunately bounce. I didn't really aim in, though, so it was kind of my fault. And then here, this T-54 is going to poke again, so we're going to get another shot to him. And you can see right here how little the tank is. There's basically no other tank in the game that can actually effectively hide behind this spot in the game. Like, this spot is, I hate this TD bush right here, or not TD bush, TD position, just because nobody can do anything right there. Like, it's too small, normally you just get destroyed right there because you can't hide. But in the T-100 LT, since it's so small, you actually can hide right there. So, of course, we're going to utilize that mobility and zip over here and help out our E-50M. Really didn't need any help here. We're just going to get one more shot into this T-57 Heavy. I was hoping to get one more shot in case this guy low-rolled, but he doesn't, and he is going to finish off that T-57 Heavy. So, yeah, the T-100 LT. I'm sure, obviously, you can tell by now how broken this tank is. And honestly, in my opinion, this is, I think, the most broken tier 10 currently. I don't know what would be better than this tank at tier 10 currently. I mean, this tank is just so commanding on the battlefield. There's really not much that can stop it out there. You kind of have to ape around on the battlefield to actually do bad, which I have done a few times. I will say I have done that a few times. You just do something stupid and you kind of get destroyed. I have done that a few times. But whenever you don't do that, you're going to do fantastic in the tank. And you're going to see right here, these guys aren't really focusing at me at all, but we're going to quickly farm up quite a bit of damage on them just because of how good that DPM is on this tank. And I think that's another thing that makes the tank so good. I mean, it has good DPM also. Like, how much more can you ask for in a tank? In a light tank. Great spotting, obviously something every light tank should have. Great DPM, another thing most light tanks should have. Pretty good accuracy, something most light tanks have. But then you also have decent armor, that's fantastic. Really, no other light tank has decent armor at tier 10. I mean, this is probably the best armored light tank at tier 10. It's better armored than, like, the, half the medium tanks at tier 10. Not really, obviously, but it is pretty well armored. And then, of course, super quick in zipping around the battlefield. And then, of course, the smallest of all the light tanks. So you can do some pretty dumb things and bully those heavy tanks. So yeah, we're going to just try to finish off this T-100, this last T-100 LT over here. And we're going to get that kill shot for 4.7k damage and 2 kills. So yeah, the T-100 LT, honestly, one of my favorite tanks to play at tier 10 right now. I am really enjoying this thing. It is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend grinding up this line. If you already had the T-54 lightweight, it's super easy. You just got to get the tier 9 and the tier 10, and that's about it. And yeah, this tank is broken, and I'm fully expecting it to get nerfed. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.